Welcome back. It is hour number 2 on this Football Friday. We are live at Twin Peaks in Hoover. The doors have just officially opened up, so come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. We've got one eye on the Ryder Cup. It is now official, the morning session, the 4-ball. And it's Americans did not fare too well, but we did get one up on the board as Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. They secured the first point for the U.S. with a 1-up win over McIntyre and Hovland. So the U.S., the second session of the day, will get underway in about 25 minutes from now. And it's going to be pretty interesting, Landrum, because you've got someone that lives in Birmingham who's representing Europe that will be taking on Scotty Scheffler. He's going to be part of the team of John Rahm, Scheffler, and Spahn for the U.S. against Rahm and Straka.
Yeah, Sepp Straka resides in Vestavia Hills, met his wife at Sky Bar in Auburn. He was a Georgia golfer. She was an Auburn student, and they met. So I'm sure he's probably got one eye on that Georgia-Alabama game coming up tomorrow. Hopefully he's got his eye on that game because we're all Team USA here. But, yeah, some cool local storylines. And, of course, Justin Thomas, who played at Alabama. So I'm sure some interesting conversations between those two as we approach kickoff.
All right, so let's dive deeper into this matchup between Alabama and Georgia. Joining us, as he does each and every Friday on this program, Mike Rodak from Bama 247 on the Higginbotham Hotline. Mike, I know you probably got the vehicle gassed up, ready to head east any moment now, right?
Yeah, I will say I never knew that about Sepp Straka. You learn something new every day.
See,
I knew that Smiley Kaufman is from here, but
we entertain and inform, Mike, all mixed into one. That's what we do here on Three-Man Front.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad I learned something.
Well, he was not born here, but obviously he lives here now. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
All right, so let's talk about the game, Mike. Your thoughts as Alabama got the two palate cleansers out of the way. They got a bye week involved. Your thoughts on Keenan and Jam Miller coming back. How much help is that going to be for the Alabama team against Georgia?
Some help. I mean, I would still temper expectations a little bit in terms of how much they play, especially for Keenan. I think if you can get 15 to 20 snaps out of Keenan, that's probably the sweet spot. So, and how effective he is coming off the surgery, we'll have to see. So, I mean, I think in theory, yes, a fully healthy Tim Keenan who's playing a full workload would help you a whole lot, but I just don't know if that's what you're going to get in this case. And I think even Kalen mentioned that last week, that there's, going to be a little bit of a snap count for him. So, I think Jam not being on the injury report probably is a better shot to play a little bit more of a normal workload, but it's still, I'm sure, a little bit of a touch-and-go situation. Just go out there and take some hits on the collarbone and kind of see how you feel as the game progresses. And it helps to have him, I think, especially in pass protection. That's probably the number one area where they trust him more than what else they have on the roster at running back. As far as the running game itself, though, I don't know if it's mattered a whole lot who they've had at running back. I think, Kevin Riley's been a little bit more explosive, but it's the offensive line that needs to really step it up in terms of providing some space. And whether it's Jam or somebody else, that's going to be the X factor. So, yes, I think helpful, but I wouldn't expect, especially in Keenan's case, for it to be 100%.
What position group, Mike, on the defensive side of the ball for Kirby and Georgia would you say has the advantage against Alabama offensively?
That's a good question. I think Georgia's front is probably not as scary as it was 4 or 5 years ago, with some of the layers of guys that they had, especially that national championship year. But that would still scare me a little bit. And Georgia's pass rush hasn't been overly productive, but if Florida State was able to kind of move you around, and I think there was that freshman defensive lineman last week who was saying it was still like high school going against Alabama's offensive line. If that's truly the case, then Georgia talent is going to potentially provide some issues for you. So I would say probably more the front end. I know there's certainly some pretty talented players in the back end for Georgia, but I still like the matchup, for Alabama's receivers in this game. I think that's really their path to winning, is getting some explosive plays like they did last year, and getting Ryan Williams and Bernard. And even if those guys are getting all the attention from Kirby, get the ball to Isaiah Horton, get the ball to Latzia Brooks, get the ball to Rico Scott. that's, I think, the path for Alabama to win. But in order for that to happen, you need your offensive line to hold up against Georgia's front seven. And if that's an area where I'd point to, that's probably it as far as an advantage.
All right, so you were there in Tallahassee, and you were able to watch all 22 on every single play, and you have been in Tuscaloosa the next 2 games. The problems that you saw in regards to effort, maybe the sideline, just the demeanor of this football team, how much has it changed, in your opinion, over the course of the last 2 games as compared to what you saw in Florida?
It's changed. I think especially the ULM game, they came out hair on fire, knowing that they needed to show a little bit more of that. I will say I feel like it's a little bit overblown both directions. I don't know if I was sitting there in Tallahassee and saying, I'm watching a team that's not trying hard or not playing hard. I don't know if I was sitting, the last 2 games, the ULM-Wisconsin game, saying this team's just ready to break through a brick wall. Like, to me, I feel like that storyline is a little bit overblown. I think it's there. I think it's certainly a thing, but Florida State's a much better team than, Wisconsin and ULM. And at the end of the day, Alabama needs to show that it can stack up and win a lot of these matchups. And there was just plays in that Florida State game where guys weren't winning one-on-ones. And whether that meant they were trying hard or not, I don't know. I think a lot of players were trying hard, but Alabama's defensive line is not what it was. Their offensive line has questions. Their running back position's been a little bit of a question mark. Their tight end position's been a little bit of a question mark. There's a lot of spots on this Alabama roster where it's just not what it was. And it's hard to be what it was because of the rules in college football now. But I watched the Florida State game. I'm like, this roster just still needs to be better. And Florida State's talent looked pretty good. They had that speedy receiver who had a couple big plays. So, I don't know. Like, to me, it's not as big of a factor. I think Alabama can go out in this game and play absolutely hair on fire, 100% effort, etc., and you can still get beat by Georgia because Georgia's a really talented team and you're playing them on the road. So I don't know if it's just as automatic as you turn on the effort and everything's going to be better.
With a lack of pass rush, really, frankly, for both of these teams. But for Alabama trying to get to Gunnar Stockton, we know that Georgia, they got deep threats. They got dudes for sure. How does Kane Womack and that defensive staff try to attack Gunnar Stockton, especially early in that game tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a good question because I haven't watched a ton of Gunnar. I mean, I watched a little bit of the Tennessee game when I got back from Wisconsin. I watched the playoff game last year. To me, I feel like if you want to give up some of the running plays to him, I think you can survive. So I don't know if you play him as a mobile quarterback and spy him and all that. I also don't know if you need to get super concerned about their receivers. I think Zachariah Branch is better than what they've had last year. But to me, for Alabama, you need to be able to tackle in space because Georgia's not just going to throw the ball to the receivers. They're not just going to be pushing the ball down the field. I think it's going to be to the backs and the tight ends. Cash Jones, Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky, get the ball to those guys if you're Mike Bobo, and then make Deontay Lawson tackle them. Make LT Overton make the tackle. Make whoever it is, Justin Jefferson, make that tackle in space because they didn't do that very well against Florida State. So to me, that's the bigger question mark. I think if you give up a couple runs to Gunnar, that's fine. Obviously, you don't want to give up a big play, to the receivers, but I don't know if that's really the bread and butter of Georgia. To me, it's you got to make the tackles in space in the screen game.
Whether they win or lose, are fans going to be talking about a coming out party for Ryan Grubb and this offense? I understand that a lot of people are still predicting that Georgia's going to win the game. It's going to be close, maybe a high-scoring game. But I think everybody has that safety, I guess that safety blanket, so to speak, that Grubb has always been for Kalen DeBoer because so many of us, including myself, thought once he got to Tuscaloosa, this offense would turn it up a notch.
It's a good question. I mean, it's a big game for him. I think it's a big game for Kane as well. But, I think you want to see more out of the offense than what you saw against Florida State. And you want to see what DeBoer and Grubb were billed as based on what they did at Washington translate to this. And that's why I say I think the path for Alabama is a pass-heavy game that relies upon the receivers, which is what Washington was best at a couple years ago. So, yeah, there's the potential for that. But I also don't know if Ryan Grubb can wave the magic wand and have Ty Simpson do everything that he needs to do to win this game as a quarterback in his first SEC road start against a top 5 team. Like that's a pretty lofty place to get to. So, look, I think for Grubb, you probably you probably have held something back these first 3 games because you know that you need to go out there and win against a really good coordinator and a good defense for Georgia. But it's up to Ty. Like, it's up to Ty to make the plays. It's up to Ryan Williams to make the catch. It's up to Caden Proctor to block. It's up to the guys in the field at the end of the day. So it might be a coming out party. It might not. And I think the same thing holds true on defense, too, because I think there's a lot of pressure on Kane Womack to put a much better showing out than what we saw against Florida State.
Okay, Mike, I know you guys at Bama 247, you guys have already logged your predictions for the game. For those that may not have seen it online, what you feeling? What you thinking about this game? Who you think is going to win?
Yeah, I guess I have Georgia slightly covering. 3 points is the spread. I think I have them winning by 5. Again, it just goes back to this is a difficult game. This is a top 5 team on the road. I don't think it matters that there's a 9 out of 10 game winning streak for Alabama. Most of this coaching staff were really almost everybody in the building was not here for the first 8 games of that. It's really just last year that's the only data point here. So I don't know if the streak matters. I think it's the fact that you're playing on the road. I do think the road record for Alabama since last year probably comes more into play, and players are going to have to handle kind of the highs and the lows of the road a little bit better than last year. But at the end of the day, you can play hard. You can do all the things that people said they weren't doing well enough against Florida State, and you can still lose this game because Georgia's a very good team and Alabama's a very good team. But like Tennessee last year, I think players tried really hard in the Tennessee game. It wasn't an effort issue. You just went to Neyland Stadium and you got beat. And I think in this particular case, if you don't make enough plays, then you'll go to Sanford Stadium and get beat. And it's not the end of the world. It's only your second loss. You still have all the playoffs in front of you. But, it's hard. And it's hard to win on the road in the SEC at the end of the day.
Okay, so let's play this out. And you kind of answered the question I was about to ask you. If this game plays out the way that you just laid out and predicted, a 5-point win by Georgia, will the Alabama fan base, not that they'll be okay with a loss, but will the naysayers on Kalen DeBoer and this program, will they be less heard after what we heard after the Florida State loss?
I think it will be much less in tone than it was the Florida State game. So I think the Florida State game was so jarring because it was another loss to an unranked opponent, a loss to a team that had just gone 2-10. This is a different situation. If you go and play competitively on the road at Georgia and you lose the game, I don't think people should, or I don't think people will either, be calling for Kalen DeBoer's job. If you go to Georgia and you just completely flop and it's a 30-point loss and it looks really bad, then yeah, I think that's a conversation. But either way, whether you lose this game or whether you win this game, it's about Vandy next week, because look what happened last year. Like, you won the Georgia game, you go and lose to Vandy, and that's when people really got on DeBoer's back. Well, you can go on the road and get a top 5 win against Georgia. You come back home and you lose to Vandy, guess what? You're right back in that same spot. So, and the same thing's true. Like, if you lose to Georgia, I think it's okay. I think you can survive. But if you go and lose to Vandy on top of that, then you're in a much tougher spot at that point.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Well, Mike, have a safe trip over to Athens, Georgia. We look forward to your coverage at Bama 247. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it. Thank you.
Thanks. That's Mike Rodak from Bama 247. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, coming up this weekend, beginning tonight, you can get into our friends at the Finnick near Railroad Park downtown. The Finnick is a great place, whether it's this afternoon, 5:30 to 8 o'clock, listening to the acoustic music. You got live bands that crank up at 10 o'clock, or the weekend, whether it's college football, whether it's the NFL, you can enjoy it. Red Zone Sunday Ticket, a lot of NFL fan clubs are meeting there. You can be there as well. They have state-of-the-art sound. They have state-of-the-art video boards, large screens as far as the eye can see. They're going to have Auburn and Texas A&M with the volume turned up so you can hear it. That's the way we like to watch it here, especially in the state of Alabama. And then later on, you're going to get Alabama and Georgia also with all the sound turned up. You can enjoy the Fennec, a great menu, whether it's the wood-fired grilled burgers, the amazing wings, or all the other great things that they have to offer. It's the Fennec, 1630 2nd Avenue South, near Railroad Park.
Well, do you agree or disagree with Mike Rodak? He predicts a Georgia 5-point win over the Tide. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. $11:19 here on Jocks. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. Got a dangerous tree leaning over your house or maybe branches blocking your view? Call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. Golston's licensed pros handle everything from trimming and pruning to full tree removals, fast, safe, and affordable. Don't wait until that next storm causes the damage on your property or your house. Call Golston Tree Service. Golston also offers 24-hour emergency tree service. So when it comes to your trees, don't risk it. Call Golston Tree Service, 205 337-4443.
So Mike Rodak, he likes the Georgia Bulldogs by 5 in his prediction for the game. I was sharing with you during the break, Dave Bartu, who founded the College Football Matrix, recently put out this statement, quote, "One of our really surprising yet statistically very significant findings in recent years is that teams coming off an open date tend to perform worse the next game, both against the spread and in losing the next game. We've all been programmed to assume that there are inherent automatic advantages in one team having an open date ahead of a big game." And to quote Lee Corso, "Not so fast, my friend." But it is important to note that Kalen DeBoer, not just last year, but 6-0 since 2021 is his record coming off a bye week. By the way, of those 6 wins, 4 of those wins were against ranked opponents.
Oh, don't get me too fired up, Landrum.
There you go.
Well, let me throw a wet blanket
Point,
on Conrad.
counterpoint.
Let me throw a wet blanket on him because Alabama has lost 5 of its last 7 games away from Tuscaloosa, and it's also lost 4 of its 6 true road contests under Kalen DeBoer.
Yee.
I would counter with Kalen DeBoer has
a
a 100 winning percentage against, or a 1,000 winning percentage against Georgia.
And I also want to point out to you, Conrad, that he is winless as the Alabama head coach in the Eastern time zone.
Now that, Pat, that's not what I needed to hear. That's the most important stat of the
I'm
day.
just telling you, he hadn't won a game yet in the Eastern time zone.
Do we have a stat for, based on the barometric pressure,
I'll
how
have
well
that.
his teams work?
Ooh.
I'll have that by the noon hour.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll have that. All right, let's go to the phones. 1-800-239-WJOX. Crimson Convict joins us here on the program. What's up, CC?
Hey, brother. Listen, I disagree with Rodak. I was just talking to Conrad about it. And, look, I understand he's coming from an objective perspective, but he's not tapped in to this fan base. And he's not tapped into our expectations and what we've grown accustomed to. No, no moral victory tomorrow. Nothing but a victory will satisfy this fan base. Am I off point on that, Pat?
No, based on the frustrations of last year and who you lost to and the way they looked and the first loss of the season, no, I don't think Alabama ever looks for moral victories, especially after Nick Saban came to Tuscaloosa. So that's why it's fascinating to me how a loss is going to be consumed by a person like yourself or the general fan base. A loss is a loss, whether it's by 1 point or 30 points.
All right, well, I got one put together for you that'll cover all that. Are you ready for it?
Absolutely, go for it.
This one is you're running out of chances. Happy Football Friday, Jocks family. I pray that everyone is in good spirits. I'm sure all know what this poem is about, and I've never been shy to let you hear it. I've had some pretty strong opinions about this coach and his direction, but I'm definitely not alone on this hill, and we have reason to not show affection. It seems the big wins are few and far between, always followed by inexplicable loss. In position for a college football playoff, only to not show up and pay the ultimate cost. Coach, no one wants to see you fail, and I admit the Crimson family is a difficult crowd. But you knew what you signed up for, and you're running out of opportunities to make us proud. I'm tired of writing negative comments. All the Tide family want is something to celebrate. We are tired of pregame anxiety and watching the dice tumble to determine our fate. This fan base will not stand for mediocrity, and this proud tradition is losing its grip. Come tomorrow evening between the hedges, you have a golden opportunity to right the ship. Are we to expect a good team only every 4 years, only occasionally cracking the college football cipher? Should we just accept we are no longer relevant? Should we change our names to the Auburn Tigers? This is not Georgia teams of the past. However, Kirby has earned my respect. No one doubts he's the better coach, and the difficult game is what we expect. Bama's always struggled with mobile QBs, and you can be certain it's a part of the scheme. Have you implemented a defensive strategy, or can we expect to be just swimming upstream? What's the headspace our team is in? I assure you the Bulldogs are ready to play. Is their focus and attention to detail, or is Smart's boys just going to have their way? Coach, I'm ready to start believing in this team, and I'm ready to believe in you. I'm ready to finally have fun with a poem, and your success is long past due. So, DeBoer, the ball is in your court. Teams are no longer giving Alabama second glances. You're the only one who can change this narrative, but, Coach, you're running out of chances.
Very good. Very, very good, as always. So let me ask
Look,
you,
guys,
based
go
on what
ahead.
you said at the beginning of the call.
Mhm.
So if Bama loses by a field goal to Georgia, you're going to be as irritated and upset at Kalen DeBoer as you would be if it was a 2-touchdown loss.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Pat, look, man, in this landscape, and I'll give it to him, he's playing in a harder era than Saban did. He just is. Saban could amass talent, keep talent, and be the best team on the field every given Saturday. But with that being said, teams are navigating it. Ohio State's not having a problem. Georgia isn't having a problem, right? Penn State, hell, they're not even having a problem. Why should we have a problem? And we set the chess piece, we set the board up for you for success. All you had to do is keep it out of the ditch, and you haven't been able to do it. I want to see if you can steer the car straight.
Very good. Should be a very interesting game. Hey, thanks, CC. Appreciate the phone call. Conrad, you agree with what CC was saying, or do you have a completely different feeling about tomorrow night's game?
I agree and disagree in certain ways. I do think that there's a difference in the way that the game – now, I agree with his statement. There's no moral victories, right? I'm not going to come on the show on Monday if Alabama loses by a field goal and be, oh, man, it was so close and the guys really tried hard, because that doesn't mean anything, right? You got to win these football games. Again, I will say this. I think it's a very tough spot for Alabama. I think if you lose a close game here, it's not necessarily indicative that Alabama's a bad team, but – these are the games that you're used to winning, and I think especially with it being Georgia, and there's just – it's hard for the fan base to accept that maybe that domination over Georgia would be over, even though it would only be your second loss to them in the last 11 matchups. So, no, I mean, I think I would view Kalen DeBoer differently if Alabama lost by a field goal as opposed to if they look like Florida State. Now, if they look like they did against Florida State, I'm absolutely in the boat of, okay, this is inexcusable. You can't have that kind of a performance 2 weeks or 2 times in the same season, especially against a team like Georgia. So I agree and disagree with a little bit of what he said. But, yeah, I do think generally speaking, if Alabama doesn't win the game tomorrow, it's not really going to matter what it looks like to most of the fans. It's just going to be a loss.
Yeah, it will be very, very interesting. So the text line is open, 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. 1-800-239-WJOX is the phone number. We will get back to the phones and your text. We're live at Twin Peaks. This is Three Man Front on a Football Friday. The text line is busting at the seams. We will get to your text messages brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trustful. And let me remind everybody about this weekend. Get out to see the fine folks there at Courtesy GMC in Trustful. You'll find the lowest prices in the Southeast at Courtesy GMC. You can save up to $17,000 off a GMC Sierra 1500, or how about a Sierra 2500 HD, up to $13,000 off with the powerful heavy-duty pickup package. Yukon XL, save up to $5,000. They got the 2026 Acadias right there, and every brand new GMC comes with a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty for long-lasting peace of mind. So go by and see Courtesy GMC right off of I-459 exit 32 in Trustful, right next to Lowe's, or visit their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
Let's go to the Jocks text line, shall we? 205-834-9450. First, let's get it started with Uncle Jerry from Hayden, Conrad's favorite uncle. 31-17 Alabama. A&M smokes the Barners. And my I Ain't Scared bowl prediction of the weekend. Washington upsets the Suckeyes.
Wow.
RTR, the number 4, life in all caps with a football emoji. Thank you, Uncle Jerry.
Here's a fun stat for the Ohio State-Washington game. This is only the second time in the last 20 years that the number 1 team in the country has played an unranked team, and this point spread is single digits. The other time it was Notre Dame and USC in 2012, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fun little stat there.
That is a fun stat. All about fun. UGA D-line greater than FSU, says this listener. Proctor has sucked for 3 years. UGA by 2 touchdowns. Okay. Mike Rodak is so negative towards Alabama. Mike Rodak sounded like Mr. Gloom and Doom today. Mr. Negative today. Fat Joe. Go Aggies, go. Texas A&M will win and cover the spread because Auburn is trash. Thank you, Fat Joe. Someone saying Pat does his research on Bama negatives. He does his research on Bama positives as well.
Yeah, Pat.
Hold on. Let me find something positive for you.
Please do.
Alabama's won 9 of the last 10.
Greatest coach of all time, coach there.
Opponents have only attempted 49 passes against Alabama's secondary.
Ty Simpson's been really, really good the last 2 games.
Yeah, Ty Simpson is 41 of 46 for 608 yards and 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Kalen DeBoer 6-0, coming off a bye week all time. 4 of those ranked teams.
There you go.
I mean, Alabama's averaging about 70-something yards more a game passing than Georgia. Turnover margin, Bama's +6, Georgia's -1. That's some good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Georgia's giving up twice as many pass yards a game as Alabama is.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be kind to our friend Crimson Conrad. He is getting some backlash from his poetry.
Oh, you mean Crimson Convict?
Yes, Crimson Convict.
Okay,
Sorry.
said
God,
Conrad.
Landrum.
We got too many Crimsons.
I know.
Crimson Conrad.
Crimson Conrad,
Convict.
he writes poetry too. Will says, Bammers need to stay away from poetry. That was unbelievably cringy. And I can't believe y'all let that guy ramble on like that. I would have to mute the mic so he didn't hear me laughing. We were not laughing. Would y'all tell that dude that his poems are terrible? We won't want to hear that soft serve ice cream emoji. First of all, shout out to Conrad. Went to high school with you. I think I'll have a positive perspective if we play Georgia close. I'm intrigued to know y'all's score prediction for the game. I got Bama 31-27. Have a good day, guys. I have seen more 31-27 this week than I think I ever have on a score prediction for a game this week for Alabama-Georgia, whether it's Georgia 31-27 or Alabama 31-27.
I've seen it everywhere.
I know, I'm going to have to change my
Everywhere.
prediction now.
I am too.
I've been saying that since Monday, and now it's like that's what everyone's mind is telling them.
If it ends up 31-27 either way, though, that's going to be super creepy, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
RJ says, by the way, we will have our predictions for the game coming up at 12:30. Better to forget it. Oh, gosh. RJ, not a big fan of the poetry. Hey, Pat and Landrum, I have a score from last night. Clay Chalkville 28, Thompson 24.
It was a heck of a catch there for the win by the Clay Chalkville guy in the end zone. One-handed snag. Very impressive.
Allen, he echoes what I said. Can I please see President Trump and Ed O together getting the crowd to chant USA? This is sent from John. Hearing some Bama fans say, I hope we keep it close, is extremely concerning. Is this where we are with Kalen DeBoer? Maybe just this particular team, but I guess that would be Kalen DeBoer. Caitlin DeBoer will choke on the road again. Interesting way to do it. Someone asking, what do you think about Mississippi State and Tennessee? Mike, thank you for the text. What are your thoughts on Mississippi State and Tennessee? Kind of went over. I like Mississippi State in this spot, and you said you did too, plus the points. Maybe the outright win.
See, I like Mississippi State in this spot too, but now that you're going that way, I'm going to have to pick against you for the purposes of bet it or forget it.
Too?
Why don't y'all go total? Children's.
Maybe we will.
Mitchell says Alabama 42, Georgia 28.
Wow.
Dylan says every game tomorrow will be 31-27. You heard it here first. Connor, yeah, if State wins Saturday, is Lebby the front runner for Coach of the Year? Absolutely.
I mean, they've already gone over their win total
yeah.
for this year.
First, Roll Tide. Second, yes, the poem is a little cringy, but give the guy a break. We're giving him a break. Some of you are not. 205-834-9450. Lots more texts that we'll get to throughout the show. Now, yeah.
Did we get a Ryan Williams one?
No Ryan Williams yet. Brandon says Fat Joe's feeble attempt to participate in any intelligent analysis only goes to expose his lack of mental ability. LOL. WDE. Thank you, Brandon.
And I did want to go ahead and say this because I've seen a couple people ask it on the text line, and it's kind of I think you could say it's a trend now, unfortunately. I am not going to the Georgia game, and I was offered free tickets to the Alabama-Georgia game, and I turned them down because I know that I'm bad luck. So I know the people have been texting and asking. I'm not going to be at the game, so that hopefully is a good omen.
Somebody asking, is this going to be a confirmed blackout game?
I have not seen anything more about a blackout.
I haven't either.
You would have thought they learned their lesson back from 2008, especially against Alabama.
I hope they didn't, though.
Yeah, So according to this is from the Tuscaloosa News, the UGA Spike Squad, is that the guys and the gals that wear the shoulder pads with the spikes?
I believe
Paint their
so.
faces?
I believe so.
Seems like that would be who that is. They put out a social media post calling for Alabama versus Georgia attendees to be loud, be early, and be in black.
Yeah, I also know that they're handing out
Wristbands.
these wristbands that's gonna be in sync with the LED lights.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like we see it at a concert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The best way to do it, though, if you want the crowd to get really fired up, don't tell them you're going to do it. Go out in warm-ups in your regular reds, and then come out in the black.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Take that stadium to a whole new level. As this is, it's going to need it. But
See, I like that idea because then it's less time to prepare because they got to go through a wardrobe change. So, yeah, I like that.
you like that.
I do.
That will be built into the block. Trust me. You don't think Kirby Smart's got equipment people ready to go? You're not going to have to. You're just going to have to. Efficiency.
So they play Krypton between the third and fourth quarter. That's their deal.
Krypton?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was there for the blackout game where they had Matthew Stafford and No Sean Marino, and Soulja Boy was being being played. I don't know if that was just for that
Yeah, I was
particular year.
reading something. Was talking about in between the third and fourth quarter, the UGA Redcoat Marching Band, and they're asking fans to hold their cell phones up as the band plays Krypton.
Conrad saying he's not going to the game. Someone thanking the good Lord for that. Appreciate the text. This one rolls in from Darren in Tennessee. Alabama money line, Kentucky money line, Auburn money line. Lock it in. Money.
Let's see what the old money line is for Alabama right now. If you were to lay a shilling or two on the Tide, let's see where it is currently. It is.
Is it plus 125? Is that what you're seeing?
Plus 135.
Oh.
So if you like Bama on the money line, it's plus 135.
Pat's got to see that.
That's awful.
Somebody sent us a bit. Golly.
Oh, man.
We can't share that, can we?
No.
You don't want to repost that?
I kind of do, but I don't. I want to do it for Molly's Ghost account. Keep the text rolling in 205-834-9450 on the Jocks text line.
Coming up next hour, we will do Bet It or Forget It. 1 o'clock hour, we'll talk some high school football with Kyle Parmley. We're live at Twin Peaks in Hoover. Come on by and see us. This is Three Man Front on a Football Friday on Jocks.
We continue this Football Friday live from the Lodge in Twin Peaks. Come and join us in Hoover as we are broadcasting until 2 o'clock. Folks making their way in here. You can enjoy some Ryder Cup action or enjoy just fun food, fellowship, talking football here at Twin Peaks in Hoover. He joins us every single Friday during the college football and NFL season. It's our buddy JR from TakingVegas.com, and he joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Happy Football Friday, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, and happy football and golf Friday to you as well, Landrum. I got to tell you, I mean, this is like a real sports fan's dream come true. You wake up early, you're watching golf, which, by the way, is only about 15 minutes from where I am right now. So we had to get in early because of all the traffic with the president over there. It's going to be an exciting day over at the Bethpage Black, which, by the way, I played, I must say, a year ago. Fun course. Absolutely
How'd you shoot?
love it. And here's what I'm doing. We got a great slate. Guys, you want to talk about probably the best college football weekend of the year. It is right here with these upcoming games. LSU taking on Ole Miss, 4-0 versus 4-0. Auburn versus A&M. Ohio State, 3-0, taking on Washington out west. It's going to be great. And, of course, I know that Roll Tide is going to be in a big matchup against the Bulldogs. So I'm giving you the point spread winner of Alabama-Georgia. All you got to do, text the word WIN. That's W-I-N to the number 545454. And we're going to hit you right back and give you the point spread winner absolutely free of this Alabama-Georgia matchup. Guys, I'm telling you, do not bet this game without my opinion. Check it out for yourself. Text the word WIN. That's W-I-N to the number 545454. And let me give you that easy winner absolutely free.
For those of you who have never heard JR join us throughout his many years here on Jocks and Three Man Front, he gives out a free prediction, which we will get to, which he hit again on the air last week with the Colts. That was easy. But, JR, you guys were 6-1 in the NFL. You're absolutely tearing it up.
Listen, it was a rocky start this year in college football. I'm the first one to say that. And this is almost, since they did the transfer portal and the NIL, we take it real light. We have our players play very light the first couple of weeks of college football, and rightfully so. I mean, we expect to be ahead a little bit, but you can also have a rocky start like the way we did. Now, I knew this past week we were going to have it all together, not only college, but especially the pros, because we're always really good in the pros. So, I mean, we lit it up. I was a pure trailblazer this past weekend. Saturday cleaned up. Sunday, it was like literally just a straight downhill slalom. We killed it. If it wasn't for the Bucks, who didn't cover that matchup but won, if the Bucks get it done, I'm a perfect 7-0 on Sunday. And, guys, I'm going to tell you now that I'm doing it even better this weekend. I've got a lineup in college football that is going to be outrageous. And my NFL, it can't lose. Even last night, I didn't use the game big, but we gave out a little bit of Seattle and got a little tight at the end. We used the money line. But, man, again, just another beautiful win. So do yourself that favor. This is all about getting you on the right track, showing you how to make money betting sports, utilizing strategy. And I'm going to give you the first game on the house, absolutely free. Big winner with Alabama taking on Georgia. Text the word WIN to 545454. You'll get it absolutely free. And, of course, you want to give us a call. You can reach us always at 888-9-WIN-NOW.
You mentioned strategy, and we emphasize it every single week because you're so adamant and passionate about it. Money management, JR.
Here's one of the things that I like to point out to people, because when it comes to money management, if you're doing it right, then even with a semi-decent record, we're talking 51, 52%. Not that I have hit that in over 10 years. My record over the last 11 straight years has been way over 60%. So that said, even if I hit 51 or 52%, it was a disastrous of a season, I'm still going to have my clients off. And that's because when we lose, we're always lowering our bets, percentages. We're always playing compound percentages. So we lower when things don't go our way. And, you know, when we have a bad run, we're not losing as much as when we have a great run, because we're always raising our bets, utilizing the right kind of progression to be able to make the most of it. So, look, when it comes to strategy, I have literally seen it all. I've done it all. Whether it be through trial and error or just compilation, I have ran every possible theory that there is. And I'm telling you, I know when to run certain formulas during certain times a year based on just historically what I've done and the volume of games that we're betting and what we're expecting as far as the outcomes, percentage-wise, what we've been able to produce in the past. So if you allow us to do our job and take our time, I'm not here telling you I'm going to make you a score in one weekend that, hey, let's turn $1,000 into 80,000 this weekend. That's downright stupid, and hopefully you guys, and I know Alabama's way too smart for that. If you're in this to make money and you want to look at this to actually be able to do it the right way, treat it like a business. Doesn't mean it's your business. Treat it like a business. Look at it through the lens with discipline and do it the right way. Man, we can make you a lot of money. We do it every year for so many clients.
All right, it is time for that free pick on the air. We're going to go NFL, and you have your eyes on the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the G-Men, the New York Giants. That is a Sunday game, 12 o'clock. You love this game.
Well, look, you got one team that's 3-0, another one that's 0-3. And let's face it, I mean, the Giants are in complete disarray. Russell Wilson gets benched, which I think is a huge mistake. I don't care that he's 0-3. I don't care that they have not played very well offensively. But putting Jackson Dart out there is not a good idea. They were doing the right thing. Leave this kid on the bench. Give him a year to learn behind a couple of veterans like Jameis Winston, like Russell Wilson, and then put him out there. Maybe at the end of the year, get him some reps before going into next year. But I can tell you now, I think that, the call came down from Mara. Dable did not want to put Dart in there. He was told to do it or his job was going to be cost. And now you got a rookie that's going to go get licked. He's going to throw some interceptions. Heck, he may even fumble the ball once or twice. He's going to look like a complete mess. And I just don't see the Chargers slowing down. I understand that they're going on the other side of the country, and it's a time frame that they're not used to playing in, meaning 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is 10 a.m. their time. I don't care. They're playing red hot, and they're going to continue it. They're going to steamroll the Giants, lay the 6, and expect to win by 14 or more. Get all over the Chargers, guys. But, look, Georgia's taking on your Roll Tide. I'm telling you, I've got this one locked up. I have no doubt that I've got the right side of the game. So, all you got to do is text the word WIN. WIN, number 545454. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Guys, I'm not here to pull the wool over your eyes. I'm here to make you money. So do yourself a favor. Text the word WIN right now. WIN, 545454. And keep safe, have fun, and you know what it is, guys. Let's go out there and make some fun.
All right, I'm going to attempt to ask one more time. Beth Page, what did you shoot when you played Beth Page?
Yeah, now you're going to put me on the spot. So,
don't worry about
normally it. I am a blessed guy if I could break 100. I don't get to play a ton of golf, unfortunately. So, however, I played the Beth Page last, and I shot a 94. And
good for you, JR.
For me, that was like winning the Super Bowl as quarterback. So,
all right.
I couldn't have been happier, considering most of my rounds are 100 to 105. 94 on the black is pretty darn good for me.
JR, takingvegas.com.